Hello guys and welcome to our next video. If you're in year 12 right now, you may be wondering, how do I make my application stand out from my peers and increase my chances of getting into medical school? Well, the EPQ is a great option. The EPQ, or the Extended Project Qualification, is a level 3 qualification, meaning it's at the same standard as A-level, and it's offered by most schools to help students develop their research skills, their writing skills and presentation skills. So a lot of skills relevant for university study there.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately not every school offers the EPQ, so if your school doesn't offer it, then don't worry. You can do something on a similar sort of vein to the EPQ and then submit that to your teacher. And that can also be put in your personal statement because you've actually gone out of your way to do that. You've given up some of your time to do something to show your passion towards medicine.
Yeah. So what's actually included in the EPQ? So there's something called a production log where you just document absolutely everything to do with the EPQ. So your planning, your resource gathering, it's not Minecraft, but your planning and your reflections and all that. And you also have your actual 5,000 word report, which is your actual final project. And you might also do a plan for it, which sometimes can take a lot longer than the actual final project because you're planning everything in detail. And you've also got your PowerPoint presentation, which you have to present to your peers at the end.
Yeah. And why is EPQ so useful? So I talked about it providing useful skills for university study, which of course is in everyone's best interest because you will be going to university, believe in yourself. Now, it also provides a good talking point at interview. So when interviewers see that you've written about the EPQ in your personal statement, they tend to set aside a bit of the interview to talk about that because it's a major part, it's a major activity, and they want to explore, your motivations behind your research, what you found from your research, what you sort of learned from doing the project, things like that. And it will make a good impression of yourself if you can talk knowledgeably about what you've researched and also defend your conclusion well.
And now we're going to be discussing our tips for you year 12s. So tip number 1 is to actually pick something you are interested in or you have had experience in. So let's say you've had work experience, I'll just use your experience. So let's say you had a work experience in multiple sclerosis therapy centre, and later on you get an interest in multiple sclerosis, then you might want to base your EPQ on that. Or let's say you read a book about, I don't know, some sort of musculoskeletal disease, not Parkinson's. Oh well. Okay, so let's say you read a book about some cardiovascular disease and you want to base your EPQ on that because you want to research it further. So the EPQ is really just a branch or a method for you to keep researching your interests.
Yeah. So our next tip is going to be regarding your production log. Now this accounts for 60% of your marks, so you want to do this properly. And our advice would be to take each section seriously. So your supervisor might tell you to, fill out these sections for this deadline. Make sure you do that, but also go above and beyond the expectations. So there is that much space there, but it's a working document, so you can always expand it. And writing a lot just shows how much dedication you're giving to the EPQ, which provides a good impression on your supervisor, and they're the ones that are going to be sending your marks to moderation, so you want to impress them most of all.
And whilst you're talking over that, if I send you like my production log and you could like show like a very quick screenshot of how much I wrote to like give them an example.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Okay. So what else you can do on your production log is, so in order to help you to kind of fill that space, you should literally reflect on absolutely everything you've done. So let's say you had at the beginning one idea, then you changed your idea to something else for another reason. Like you want to document absolutely everything about that in detail and also reflect on it to say why you did it, what you're going to change next time, and think about things in your project that have gone wrong and what you could do to potentially fix that. And keep doing that throughout your production log, because your production log is where, what, like 80% of your marks or something lie? I can't remember that number. 60%. Yeah. So your actual 5,000 page document is not worth more than the production log.
5,000 page document.
Alright, I mean 5,000 word. Alright. Yeah, so your production log is really important. Okay. Now you talk about splitting out everything.
So our next tip is to aid your progress through the EPQ, because it is a long-term project, and what we would recommend is to split up everything into bite-sized chunks, and that will allow you to take one thing at a time instead of having a massive deadline to work towards and having to wade through the backlog of work you got to do. So maybe one day you fill out this section on the production log, next day you fill out the next section, and that will save you having to, you know, stay out late at night or whatever and miss deadlines, which is definitely not healthy for your EPQ.
Yeah. So if you're wondering in terms of resources for your EPQ, as in like where you're actually going to procure them from, I understand your pain, because it really is challenging. So especially for medicine, where books are like crazy expensive on Amazon and on other book selling websites, it might be easier to go to like a hospital library. If you have like someone you know working in hospital, you can ask them to borrow books on your part, or you can go to an online website. So there's a website called thewannabedoktors, which kind of has a library of loads of books, and you can very easily find the book you're looking for. But remember that all your resources doesn't necessarily have to be books. So you can go into like scientific article websites such as PubMed. I don't know, what other websites are there? The main one is just PubMed.
Google Scholar maybe, but they direct you to PubMed anyway, so
yeah, so
maybe PubMed.
Yeah, and they have like loads of scientific articles that you could file through, and you kind of see the ones that are relevant to your subject, and you can potentially use it in EPQ.
Other than books or articles, you can also use websites and videos as well, because those are also valid sources, as long as they come from, as long as you evaluate them and use them wisely. They're okay to use as well. So videos could include videos on websites such as YouTube and documentaries even, and also in terms of websites, any sort of reputable website you can use.
Yeah, so I actually use some videos from Khan Academy, and the sort of like variety of using these resources gives you is useful, because when it comes to your source evaluation, you've actually got stuff to talk about.
Okay, so in terms of the final step of the EPQ, and what many think is the scariest step, is a presentation. So this is a 15-minute presentation followed by 5 minutes of Q&A, where your supervisor asks you questions about the EPQ, and it's essentially a chance for you to show off your findings and the process of doing your EPQ. And you want to do this in a passionate way, to convey your passion, so that the supervisor can see that you're really proud of your final product and you've enjoyed the process of getting to it. And it does, count towards your final grade, so obviously take it seriously and do it well.
Yeah, and your presentation is also where, if there are gaps in, the selection criteria, hopefully if you have a good supervisor, your supervisor will ask you questions that kind of fill those gaps, so that you end up getting a high score. And the presentation is actually quite important, and it can kind of determine whether or not you get that A star or an A.
What could also help, which we almost forgot to mention, is to A, make speaker notes to help you deliver your PowerPoint presentation,
and adjust these to help you get the presentation to the time limit of 15 minutes, and B, make a glossary handout of technical terms to help your audience during the presentation so they don't get lost at any point.
Yep. So, before we close off this video, we want to shout out a really useful YouTuber who's helped us with our EPQ as well, and that is Secrets to EPQ Success. We'll link his channel down below, and hopefully you found this video and that channel useful. So thanks for watching, let us know what you thought down below, and we'll see you in the next one.